Today, we're going to talk about something that might just be the missing piece of the puzzle for a lot of you out there who are dealing with some really confusing, unexplained symptoms. We're going to dive into histamine intolerance.
So, have you ever finished a meal and just felt off? Not in a dramatic, I'm having an allergic reaction kind of way, but just not right. If you've ever found yourself asking that question, then you are absolutely in the right place.
Maybe it's that frustrating bloating that seems to pop up out of nowhere. Or maybe a sudden headache, or even a wave of anxiety right after you eat. These things can feel so vague and disconnected, but what if I told you they might all share a common root cause?
All right, let's get right into it by meeting the main character in our story today, histamine. Now, you might hear that word and think allergies, but it's so much more than that. And it's definitely not the bad guy here. It's actually a vital messenger in your body.
When you strip it all down, histamine is just a natural chemical compound. Your body actually makes it, and believe me, it needs it to work properly.
So what's its job exactly?
Well, it's a serious multitasker. Histamine helps kickstart your immune system to fight off germs. It tells your stomach to release the acid it needs for digestion, and it even helps your brain cells communicate with each other. It's kind of a big deal. Okay, now here is a really crucial piece of the puzzle. Your body isn't the only source of histamine. It's also found naturally in a lot of the foods we eat, and the amounts can really vary. You'll typically find higher levels of histamine in foods that have been aged or fermented. So think about things like sauerkraut, aged cheeses like cheddar, cured meats like salami, and yeah, even alcoholic drinks like wine. Here's a pro tip. Even your leftovers can build up more histamine the longer they sit in the fridge.
So if histamine is being made inside our bodies and it's coming in from our food, how on earth do we keep it all in balance? Well, luckily, your body has a really brilliant system for that.
And let's meet the hero of that system. It's an enzyme called diamine oxidase, but we can just call it DAO. The main job of DAO is to break down and clear out the extra histamine that comes from your food, and it does this work right in your gut. To really make this click, let's use a super simple analogy. I want you to picture your body's histamine level as the water level in a kitchen sink. Okay, so all the histamine is the water flowing into the sink. You've basically got two faucets turned on. One faucet is your body's own production, and the other faucet is the histamine coming from what you eat. Both are filling up that sink. Now, the drain of that sink, that's your DAO enzyme. When everything is working perfectly, that drain is wide open. It easily handles all the water coming in from both faucets, and the water level never gets too high. Everything just stays in perfect balance. But what happens when that system gets thrown off? What happens when the water starts filling the sink faster than the drain can let it out? Well, that's when things can start to get a little messy. Before we go any further, I have to make something crystal clear. Histamine intolerance is not a true food allergy. An allergy is your immune system overreacting to something. Histamine intolerance, though, is different. It's a processing issue. It's about a buildup of histamine that your body just can't clear out fast enough. So back to our sink. Why would it start to overflow? Well, there are a few reasons. One, you could be turning that food faucet on full blast by eating a ton of high histamine foods all at once. Or two, the drain itself, your DAO enzyme, might be a little bit clogged and not working at 100%. And then there are other things like alcohol or even some medications that can temporarily block that drain and make the problem worse. And when that sink overflows, that excess histamine spills out into your system. And that is what can trigger all of those confusing and uncomfortable symptoms we talked about at the very beginning. And look, here they are again. That sudden headache after dinner, that red flush on your skin, that digestive mess. Seeing this list now, hopefully you can start to see how it all connects back to that idea of the overflowing sink. It's not just random. It can be a direct result of too much histamine for your body to handle in that moment. Okay, so understanding the what and the why is one thing, but what can you actually do about it? Let's talk about some simple, actionable first steps. The goal here is all about awareness and management, not about restriction or fear. Here are a few really gentle places to start. Just choosing fresh foods over things that are aged or heavily processed can make a big difference. Try to be mindful of leftovers, since histamine levels go up the longer they sit. But most importantly, just start paying attention. Notice how you feel. And since that DAO enzyme lives in your gut, focusing on your overall gut health is always a fantastic place to start. And I really want to emphasize this. This isn't about creating a long, scary list of foods you can never eat again. Not at all. It's about becoming a detective for your own body, learning what your personal threshold is, and figuring out how to keep your own sink from overflowing. So if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. It all comes down to capacity. It's a constant balancing act between how much histamine is coming in and how well your body can clear it out. And that really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. This isn't about diagnosing yourself, but about empowering yourself. It's about learning to listen more closely to your body now that you have this new way of thinking about it. So take a moment and ask yourself, what is my body telling me?